Hi, everybody. I just wanted to share what we like to call the Monat effect. And that's kind of where we were before Monat and where we are now, because we hit that click now, join now button. I fell in love with my high school sweetheart at 14 years old, you guys. All I wanted to do was marry this boy. We lived off of bean burritos, baked potatoes.
I was a single mom who was terrified of my finances and a little bit my whole future, to be honest.
I had come from this industry of network marketing. I kind of call myself a serial entrepreneur. I had owned my own brick and mortar. And then prior to that, I worked in the restaurant industry.
I grew up knowing that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, knowing that I wanted to build something of my own. And I ended up doing exactly that after failing miserably in multiple different businesses and jobs.
I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have always just been a stay-at-home mom, much like Brittany. I married right out of high school. We started our family.
I've been a hairstylist for almost 19 years now.
I worked at a local community bank in my town, sometimes 6 days a week.
I was actually pregnant with our second son, and we moved back to Nova Scotia, where we're from, and there's not a whole lot of opportunity here.
I'm also a registered nurse. I retired from that back in 2014, and I'm also a family photographer.
I was a stay-at-home mom. I was doing nails out of my home. I was a nail tech.
Actually, I said no to this opportunity like most hairdressers do. We're a lot of skeptic, right? I just was not in the right mindset.
We were struggling financially. I had lost my last business. He was a civil engineer and his provisions got cut. And so, I mean, it was a struggle. We were behind in our house payments.
I didn't love sitting behind a desk from 9 to 5 every single day. I remember staring out this huge, beautiful window thinking like, you know what? There's got to be more out there for me. Like this can't be it, right?
I never saw my family. I always say being a hairdresser is like being a doctor. You're always on call after 5 and on the weekends. That's when we work. We work when everybody else is off, right?
My husband was working as a longshoreman, working long hours, days, nights, evenings, weekends, whatever he could do to pay the bills.
All I wanted was to alleviate that financial stress and have more time with my family.
When it came time to pay my daughter's dance class tuition, I realized that I'd have to pull her out of this weekly class that she loved because it just could not fit into my budget anymore.
And the truth is, it literally consumed my life in the ways that I never wanted it to. I had reached basically the top of where I could ever go in this business. I couldn't grow anymore physically.
And I ended up going into business with someone and opening up a restaurant, just a small franchise. And I will tell you, that was the worst thing I have ever done. A brick and mortar, $50,000 investment. I had an 8-week-old baby and a toddler, and I had to be at that store 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I never could be at anything. I missed birthday parties. I missed basketball games, football games, you name it. I missed everything.
We found ourselves facing a terrible bankruptcy, and I was 40 and in a horrible place financially. No retirement, no light at the end of the tunnel.
We had gotten ourselves into a really bad financial bind. And we know that if we don't work, we don't get paid. And I had to have a surgery, and my husband actually broke his foot the same exact time. And we just went on a spiral hill downward financially, and we could never catch up.
My marriage was in really, really big trouble. And on top of that, my husband's job was in limbo.
I was sitting in a parking lot checking my bank balance before I went into the grocery store because I had to come up with a plan for the week, right?
And my marriage was crumbling. I wasn't with my kids. I had literally fell asleep crying with mom guilt almost every night.
What I didn't love the most is that somebody else got to determine what I was worth.
I went to university. I studied. I had 2 degrees. I had lots of careers. I was a flight attendant. I worked in child protection. I worked for the government. I had really, really great jobs, but I never felt happy because I was always having to answer to somebody else.
And I'll never forget the day at the end of the year when the president of the bank came to my desk and he said, "Do you know how much money you make?" And I thought it was a trick question at first, but I said, "Yes, I make $15.10. And you guys, he looked me in the eyes and he shook my hand and he smiled and he said, "Congratulations. Now you make $15.18.
I had a little girl later in life. She has special needs, And so I really didn't have the option of working outside the home. I needed something I could do from home, preferably that didn't take a bunch of inventory or, endless hours at night.
What can you do where you can make money at home without someone telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, clocking in, clocking out? I wanted true flexibility, but I also wanted a real true opportunity.
And that was the biggest slap in the face that I have ever gotten my entire life. And it was in that moment that I decided I was never, ever going to let somebody else make me feel that small or that unworthy ever again. And I went to work.
And I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw on my timeline something that actually changed the whole trajectory of my life. A girl I barely knew was posting a photo of her trunk filled with groceries. It was filled to the brim, and she was excited that it was the first time she was able to make a trip to the store worry-free because of her online business.
I said no at first, but then a couple of days later, I had gotten that dreadful letter in the mail that my home was going into foreclosure. And I thought, you know what? I've got to take a chance. I need to make a house payment. That's what I needed in the very beginning. I just wanted a house payment. And so I went for it.
And the only thing that my prayers kept directing me back to was direct sales. And so I jumped in. I knew that this was the way of the future, you guys.
So I started looking into it, but immediately I had 100 reasons why, good for you, go girl, but not for me, right?
So I was living this dream that I worked so hard for, but I wasn't happy living it. Being a small business owner, I honestly looked at direct sales like a joke. It was more like a bless her heart kind of thought came to my brain when I would see friends or family trying to build a business in the MLM world. I said no to this opportunity more than once, as I'm sure some of you on here who are listening, who got on this call, have probably said no.
We had sworn off of network marketing entirely because, it didn't work. Only the people that taught made money, all those things that we would say, we felt.
Monat was introduced to me. Now you're thinking that's probably the last person in the world that has time to do something else. And you're right, I was the last person in the world. But you are never too busy to chase your dreams. So this whole I'm too busy. If you really want to change your life and take control of what you're not happy with, you're not too busy. So I did it.
Lo and behold, I was looking for a product for my hair because of postpartum hair loss. So I decided to try a sample. I liked it. I signed up. I didn't tell my husband right away that I had signed up because I knew he'd be angry with me because we just decided I wasn't going to do this anymore.
I used the product for a month, and I had never, ever, ever in my life loved my hair more. So that's kind of what really pulled me in the beginning.
When I confessed to him for signing up, it was actually a fight. He said, good luck with that. Nobody's going to believe you. You've sold everything under the sun. We fought about it, but I actually thank him for this. He's always supported me in everything I've done, no matter what it was. And this one time he decided not to support me, and I chose to believe that I could do it. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it in this company. And if I don't, I promise you I'll never do another one again. He didn't believe me, of course. I believed me, though. I believed in myself. I felt like I could do it. I literally did everything I could to figure it out.
My circle was small, but my bank account was smaller. So I decided to start asking her more questions. And
$500 a month or $1,000 a month would have been a godsend for us because that would have covered my gas and my groceries, right?
Cool thing is that I knew that when I met Stuart and Ray, our CEO, that they had, and their dad, we call him the trifecta, Senior Luis, that they had a incredible vision, an incredible dream of what they were going to do and build this company.
To really soak in the business side of things, I had a conversation with one of my uplines, and she really shared the financial freedom aspect of the business, which is something that I feel like it's coming from this industry. You don't know what you don't know.
I knew when I found Monat that this was a dare to be great situation. And I just knew in my heart in my gut that this was going to be something really, really special.
Just put my head down and went to work. I really had never found success in network marketing, but I loved that this was an industry and a business plan that didn't discriminate against somebody like me who has no college education, has no corporate experience, has no sales experience, really. I never considered myself a salesperson, but I had a desperate need to make things better for my family and in our life. So I just went to work.
So when she had shared that with me, it kind of opened my eyes to I literally have nothing to lose by doing this. I'm already drowning over here. If I can get an extra $200 $400, $500, that's awesome because I'm not gaining that from any other side hustle. So I started that, and you guys, fast forward 6 months from that moment, I had stopped taking orders completely from my business that I built for 5 years. Now, 2 years later, we were able to buy our first home. I paid off all of our credit card debt. We're able to go on multiple vacations a year, most of them paid for by Monat directly. And I was able to bring my husband home from his 70-plus hour a week job.
I jumped in, and lo and behold, you guys, 3 years later, that is not long. People go to college for 4 years and they study and they take time, hours and hours and hours a day to then get a job. I've done this for 3 years, and it has completely 100% changed our life, our future. In the last year and a half, my husband has been home more. He has not had to pick up a single overtime shift, you guys.
So I decided to throw my reservations out the window and bet on myself in a business model I knew very little about. But you guys, I learned, I stumbled, I made mistakes, but I pushed through and became one of the top 10 earners in this company, because what I found immediately was there are a lot of people who were just like me, hard workers, but it just wasn't adding up. And I found a group of women who all decided to bet on themselves and silence those fears.
The biggest thing of all is that he is being able to take off 4 to 6 months come January to stay at home with our brand new baby, with our 4th baby, and allow us to be a family and give back that time. That's all I ever wanted. The money has blessed us beyond measure, you guys. It can help you. It can set you up financially for the future, but you can't put a price tag on time, on moments, on memories.
Now, 3 years later, we have overcome that. We work as a team at home. My husband did end up losing his job, but Monat quickly replaced his lost income. And now we have the life of financial freedom that's given us the best gift of time freedom.
So we jumped in August of 2014. I didn't look back. He was on the fence, but he wasn't on the fence for quite long, because in April of 2015, you can find him at Mr. Repurposed. That's what we call him, is Mr. Repurposed. And he was a stay-at-home dad while I went out there and built the business.
So I was the original doubting spouse.
Yes.
And then I was the original retired spouse.
Yes.
He loves the trips and the perks that he gets to partake in, and his brain is involved in this business with me.
And I mean, to try to describe what Monat has done for us, not just financially, but the family, the friends, the community, the culture that we have gained from this incredible company. Some of my most incredible mentors, are in the company, and I just love the whole Monat effect. It's not just the money, but let's talk about money for just a second, because for me, an extra $500 to $1,000 a month was what I was thinking would alleviate some of our immediate distress. But 5.5 years later, we are in the $1 Million Club. We are actually in the $5 Million Club. And we're building our dream home. We're getting ready to move into our dream home paid for. And so for me, later in life, worrying about retirement, worrying about not having to take on a bunch of debt was so important. And because of Monat, because of this company, we've been able to do that. And not just us, but literally thousands and thousands of people have been able to go on their dream vacation, put their kids through college, pay off debt. I mean, it's just so many things that it's done.
And so here we are 5 years later. It has been the most amazing thing that I've ever taken part of in my life. It's made me a better mom. It's made me a better person, a better leader, a better friend. It was the best thing that I could have ever done was say yes to this. And guess what? I get to have more time freedom with my family. I now have a senior in high school. I have a freshman in high school, and my daughter is now in 5th grade. And I get to be a part of their life. And so I'm so thankful for giving this time freedom back to me and my family. And about 1.5 years ago, I was able to retire my husband. You owe it to your family to take a chance and say yes.
Fast forward to today, my husband has been home now as well. I retired him. My son is 1.5, and we were a full-time family. We saw him take his first steps together the other day, and that's something that we probably both would have missed if we weren't blessed with this opportunity.
So from then on in, it took about a year and a half. I was the first person in Canada to reach the top. It was very exciting. And right now I'm #1 income earner in Canada, and I'm a member of the $1 Million Club. Literally, it took 2.5 years to make it into the MDC. Can you imagine, you guys, if I listened to my husband when he said don't do it? Just a disclaimer, he supports me now. He's on board, fully supportive, wearing the t-shirt, wearing the hat.
And now, less than 3 years after joining the company, I am a top 10 income earner and a member of the $1 Million Club. And I'm able to live a life and write our own narrative for our life that I thought would never happen. Can travel with our kids, which was a huge dream of mine. I'm able to work on my own schedule and be a super present mom to our 3 kids who, as they get older, I'm realizing they need me more now than they even needed me as babies. I feel like Monat has given me the best of both worlds. I'm able to be super present at home and then still, do my thing while it gives us the time freedom and the flexibility because of the financial freedom it's given us.
And within 1 year later, you guys, I was able to pay off all of my credit card debt, all of my school loans. I was no longer drowning, and I was able to put in my 2-week notice and retire from corporate America at the age of 27, 1 month before he could give me another 8-cent raise.
But I just hustled, and within a year and a half, my husband retired from the oil field. He no longer had to leave us and be away. I sold the restaurant. I got away from that, away from doing something that made me so miserable.
And you guys, saying yes to something this amazing, you never know what it can bring you. You never know what's going to come around the corner, and you never know who is going to change your life, who that person is.
My question for all of you tonight, open your mind and just think, what would $500 look like for my budget this month? What would $1,000 look like for my budget next month? And then go from there.
As someone who has financially and emotionally struggled, I know how strange it might be for you to be sitting here hearing these stories and thinking that it couldn't happen for you.
If this worked out for me, it can absolutely work out for any one of you. I have a PhD, a public high school diploma, and I didn't just drop out of college once. I went above and beyond, and I dropped out twice.
I'm no different than you. I'm not more business savvy. I'm not smarter. I'm not better. I'm not anything that you aren't. I just made the choice to say yes, to jump in with both feet, to see what happens. I made the choice to grind, to work, to show up every day.
This is something that anybody can do. You just have to be willing to dedicate yourself to be coachable and to have a heart and a mind open to what this opportunity could do for your family. You owe it to yourself to look a little closer. What if you said yes and Monat changed everything for you like it has for my family and everybody that you're going to hear from on this call tonight?
If you're a hairstylist watching this, please take a minute to just listen to whoever invited you to this call and have an open mind.
Our amazing uplines, our amazing support. This company offers so much support that you can't not fail. If you want to work it and you can do it, you can do it.
I failed miserably at about 6 or 7 different companies before this. So just know, you guys,
I had no idea what network marketing was. I've never done it before in my life. I have no sales background whatsoever, okay? But I knew that something had to change.
if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to give it your all, if you're willing to try and never give up, there's no reason that your life can't be changed just like ours has.
But my biggest message to you is to really, if you think you want to do it and you believe in yourself, that's all it takes. You don't need to let anyone else tell you to dictate your dreams or tell you what to do. You believe in you, you do it. And I promise you, you can. The sky is the limit. I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm a nail tech, and I did it. So if I can do it, you guys can do it too.
This truly will give you your dream life. You just have to have a little bit more of an open mindset.
So I just hope and pray that if you're on this call today, you can hear our hearts, kind of feel the culture of the company, and really see how happy we are doing this thing.
If I didn't listen to her, I don't know where I'd be today. Financial freedom, like family freedom, time freedom. It's just, I'm so blessed, and I'm so happy that I said yes. And I really hope that You do too.
And we want to help so many more people. It brings me so much joy to see what, the products and the business can do for people. So I definitely hope that if you're considering this, here's my thing. What have you got to lose? You got 30 days to try us on for size. Get with the person that invited you to this call. Go back to them. If you have any other questions, get your questions answered.